first head professional job at what is now the Dye Preserve in 1991. And he took a chance on a 31-year-old guy who thought he knew a lot, but really didn't. And Joe is still very successful running Dye Preserve, so I want to thank Joe Webster for that. This year I started my 21st year as the director of golf at Lost Tree Club. It's been an amazing journey. It's an unbelievable first-class facility. I couldn't be luckier, and I want to thank the members and the board of directors for that. I want to go back to 1987 for a minute. I was a rookie assistant in the section. My first tournament was the section assistants championship at a new club called Windermere, and Lynn Josephson was the head professional. He doesn't remember. I was one of 100 players in that field, but Lynn, thank you for your support over the years. Lynn is a Hall of Famer, and I think, Lynn, are you here tonight? Thank you, Lynn. And my next tournament that summer, following that summer, was at the South Florida Open. And for those of you who are old school guys in this section, the South Florida Open, was the big tournament of the summer. It was 4 rounds. It had a cut. It was at the Naples Beach Club. Not that it was a terribly hard golf course, but you had to hit it straight. And I got paired with a player who couldn't have been nicer to me. I was a nobody. He shot 67. I scraped it around for 72. I kind of felt good about it. He was complaining about it, that he shot 67. But after we got done, he says, hey, you seem like a nice guy. So I kind of fooled him. And he said, why don't you come in and I want you to meet some of my friends, and why don't you have lunch with us? The old Naples Beach Club had a kind of a nice low-key grill room. It had a pool table and a popcorn machine, and it was just kind of, what old golf pros used to do. And so I sat down with these guys. I didn't know these guys, and I soon found out that the other 2 guys had shot 66. One of them was Roger Kennedy. The other one was Wes Smith. And they invited me to have lunch, and they couldn't have been nicer to me. And, they made me feel like, I was, part of the guys. And that player that invited me that day was Gary Baker. And I know he remembers it. I don't know you remember everything, Gary, but we hit it off that day, and we've been good buddies since, and it's an honor to go into the Hall of Fame with you. You're still a lot better than me. I got more hair, barely. But thank you for then and now and what seems to be like 30 years. I want to thank my staff. My staff at Lost Tree is an amazing staff. I'd like you to stand when I call your name, please. You guys and gals are amazing. Mike Kostelnik, Ed Humanek, they're in the back and the left. They're probably the loudest, most out-of-control group tonight. Yes, that's Ed Humanek, who was the longest driving player on the PGA Tour back in the 1990s. Right, Charlie? Not really. Eileen Kramer, who runs our ladies program and teaches there. Thank you, Eileen. Now, we had ladies guest day today. We were a little late getting here. Wasn't because of the ladies guest day, but we were a little late. And all went well, so thanks for that. Cindy Farrow, who teaches at Lost Tree and at Baltusrol. Eileen and Cindy are both in their 20th year at Lost Tree. And our wonderful merchandiser, Deb Cotella, who's in her 10th year. Oh, and Matt Baddock. I can't forget Matt Baddock. He runs the tournaments at the shop, so thank you, you guys. I couldn't do it without your talent and dedication and your commitment to excellence, so thank you so much. We also have here our superintendent, Chuck Shamming. I'm telling everybody he's the best superintendent in South Florida. We have the best conditioned golf course in South Florida. Has nothing to do with Chuck having the biggest budget. but he's darn good, even though he's a Florida Gator. You know, they say everybody has a boss. If you got to have a boss, you want to have this boss, and this boss is Rick Bayless. He's an advisory board member because I told him he had to be. And Rick's the general manager and COO of Lost Tree. And, you know, Rick didn't really need to come to South Florida. He had an amazing career at Oakland Hills in Michigan. He hosted the U.S. Amateur, the PGA, and the Ryder Cup. And when he got tired of the winters in Michigan, he likes to say that he put his snowblower on eBay and decided to come to South Florida in 2009. But Rick, I want to thank you for all your friendship. Not a day goes by that we don't talk about golf and how to make Lost Tree better for the members. And I just want to thank you for your professionalism and friendship. Charlie mentioned that I've been lucky to have 14 of my assistants go on to their own jobs. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I just had another one. He's here tonight, so now it's 15. They want to get away from me, as you can see. Guy Mancini, who just took over the Florida Club in Stewart, is here tonight, as well as Greg Richburg, who is at Cape Cod National, and Jason Harinkyu. These three guys drove, you know, and came down tonight. I really appreciate it. Jason's in Sarasota. He was a longtime South Florida guy. Now he's one of those guys in North Florida. So he's one of the enemy now, but the champs. But thanks to you guys. You know, the one thing I can tell you that's really very rewarding for me is when you have this many young kids come through your program, you know, you get attached to them. They're like family. And I honestly want to say I learned more from them than they did from me. So thank you guys for being here, and I really appreciate it. I'm getting close. I want to thank the South Florida PGA staff, all the current and former officers. First of all, I want to thank Kevin Maroney. And when I came here in 1986, you know, like I said, I was just a nobody assistant. Kevin went out of his way to make me feel welcome. He and his wife, Donna, have been mainstays and great, you know, folks over the years for South Florida. So thank you, Kevin. Kevin, would you please stand? Kevin asked me to get involved in the South Florida PGA, and Gary put me on his tournament committee. And just when I thought I was about done with section affairs, they asked me to run for office, and it came at a good time in my career, and so I accepted, and it's been great. I'm so glad and so lucky that I did. So thank you, guys. And also, I want to thank Jeff Lofstead and Meredith Schuler and your team. Would you guys please stand? You guys are the best. Jeff, Meredith. I mean, when you're a section officer, I mean, I hope I speak for all the section officers. I mean, they make it so easy for what you do, and they do all the hard work, and we get all the rewards, so it's kind of a no-brainer. But those guys are great, and I really enjoyed my years with you, so thank you so much. Finally, to my family, I mentioned Vicki earlier, but obviously I didn't mention her enough. My daughter Nicole couldn't be here, and Charlie, I hate to tell you, she's a Georgia graduate, so they do go to college and graduate. She works for Turner Sports. She couldn't be here tonight. She's a producer with NBA TV, but I'm very proud of her. My son Brant, he's trying to make it in the world of golf, and just keep up the hard work. I know your day is going to come, and I know you're going to get there, so I'm proud of you, Brant. People that know me well know my wife, Vicki, is St. Vic, and there's a reason she gets called that. I won't go into all that. But thank you, honey. I love you. I wouldn't be here without you. So that pretty much sums it all up for me. I never could have dreamed of, you know, starting where I did, coming this far, and meeting so many great professionals, having the opportunity to work with so many wonderfully talented people. And I just want to say thank you for this incredible honor. Thank you.
Our second inductee this evening is Gray Oaks Country Club PGA Assistant Golf Professional Gary Baker. Tonight, Gary is honored for his extraordinary impact on the South Florida PGA and promotion of tournament play. Gary is known as a player representative as he has played in almost every section event and is a constant supporter of tournament play to fellow PGA professionals. His playing career was highlighted by playing two major championships, the 1976 U.S. Open and the 1981 PGA Championship. He served as a tournament committee chairperson from 1995 to 2007 and was named the 2010 Florida State Senior Honoree. Now he's a member of the South Florida PGA Hall of Fame. Please join me in watching this highlight video on Gary.
Gary Baker's been a great advocate for the PGA. Here at Gray Oaks, he has set the standard for involvement with our members, our juniors to get involved, and besides being a great player, has great relationships with all of our members. Gary is the poster child for what we want our PGA golf professionals to be here. We have over 20 here at Gray Oaks, and Gary is the ultimate in being a professional. We all look up to Gary, seek him for advice, and I think he has meant the world to the South Florida PGA.
Gary, congratulations on being elected in the South Florida PGA Hall of Fame. I've had the good fortune of going to work with Gary for the past 12 years. Every day is an adventure. Gary lights up the room with his infectious smile as he lights up the golf course with his birdies and his pars. Gary, thank you so much for all you've done for us the last 12 years, and more importantly, what you've done for the game of golf in South Florida for the last 30 years. You have touched so many people, from the juniors to the seniors and everybody in between. You have made a difference in golf in South Florida like none other.
Gary Baker.
Okay, enough. Brian, this is called home field advantage, by the way. Okay, first of all, I want to thank all the members, and for some of you that don't know who I am without this, I want to wear this. I want to start out, first of all, by thanking Anthony Hobbs for this great meal. He's the dining room manager, dining room manager. And Travis, are you back there somewhere? Travis and his staff, thank you very much. Chris and Chef Chris, he was great, by the way. Also, so I want to congratulate all the winners tonight. Those are awards that I've never won. I haven't won one award. I don't understand why I'm up here. But congratulations to all those award winners. I appreciate it. And Charlie, I want you to know one thing. I know that you were a pretty good player back on tour. And back in my day, we would have whipped your ass in the North Florida sections, okay? We never lost when I was playing, but I wish you were there then. Okay, let's start out. First of all, this is a tremendous honor. I want to thank the South Florida section for inducting me into the Hall of Fame, along with my very good friend Brian Pieper. Thank you. I want to thank Jeff Lofstad and Meredith Schuler. Without your help, this section would have probably gone backwards. I mean, Kevin took us so far, and you guys have taken us over the top, and I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. I've appreciated everybody's texts, calls, cards from everybody that I haven't heard from in years. I've been around since 1971, and hearing all the nice compliments is very special to me, and I really appreciate that. Who would have known back in 1962 that my father, with 4 sons, would have had 2 PGA professionals that are lifetime members? I'm here tonight, and my brother's down there. Ron, stand up, tell them who you are. Okay, so like I said, I never won any awards. All I've ever wanted to do was play golf. That's all I cared about from the day I was 11 years old. I just wanted to get up and play golf and play golf. So I never worked, never had a job. All I did was play golf. That's true, Charlie. I had a job at a commissary when I was 15 years old just to make enough money to get gas to go to the golf tournament. So I had a big journey, and the journey starts, I don't know where to start my journey, but I had to start with my girlfriend at the time, which is my wife now. We got together at 17. We wanted to get married at 18. My mother said no, I was too young to get married, and she was too good for me, and she wouldn't sign the papers till I was 21. And that's the truth. So I didn't want to go against my mom, so I said, okay, we'll wait. So I went to junior college, turned 21, and decided, okay, I'm going to get married. So I married my wife, Vicki. Stand up and show them who you are. Okay, so now not having a job, loving to play golf, what am I going to do? What the hell do I know? So we've got one golf course in Homestead. It was called Redlands Country Club. We had a new professional there, so I said, okay, let me go see if he's looking for an assistant. I called him up. He said, sure, come on out and see me. I came out Saturday morning. He's having a hamburger and a beer. He sat down and he said, okay, Gary, what are you looking to do? I said, I'm looking to become an assistant professional. He said, do you have any experience? I said, no. If nobody hires me, how am I going to have experience? So sure enough, he gave me the job. And Charlie taught me a couple of things that have lasted my whole life. Charlie taught me to play in pro-ams, support the section and the chapter. That was very important to Charlie. He also told me playing with members would lead to lasting relationships. So that was my Bible that I went forward with as far as the club pro goes. So, okay, I really didn't care about all that. I only cared about playing the tour. So it was my way on getting on the tour was to work and get my credits with the PGA. 4 years went by, I got my credits, and being a somewhat pretty good player, not a good player, just a pretty good player, I decided let's go try the tour. Back in those days, we could go qualify with the strength of our cards on Monday morning. I tried 17 times to qualify. I made it 5 times, made the cut no times. So I'm up at Sammy Davis Hartford Open. I called my dad and I said, Dad, look, I played baseball, and you said, son, when you get thrown out at first, don't run to second. So I came back home, moved back in with my parents, don't have a job, don't know what to do. So the next thing I know, I got a call from the PGA, and they said there's a job up in Kendall. So I walk up to apply for the job. I've got my application in the hand, and I run into a member that I had played with in pro-ams. And the member's name was Jim Yenzer. And he said, what are you doing here, Gary? And I said, I'm coming to apply for the job at Kendall Lakes. And he said, oh, really? He said, let me see what I can do. So the next thing you know, because of him and the relationships I'd had playing in the pro-ams, he said, okay, I got the job. This is my first job, didn't know what to do, only knew what I was taught, which was to play with the members and play in pro-ams and take care of the section. So sure enough, Roger Kennedy and his wife Joyce called every day, and we had to play in pro-ams. We probably had 30 pro-ams a year, and Roger and Joyce, I don't want to say forced us, but insisted that we played, because back then that was what it was all about, playing in the pro-ams. And that's helped us go on. So next thing I know, we're playing in pro-ams. Let me see where I'm at now, honey. You're writing your notes. I'm reading them. So I got Jim Yenzer. So now I've got Kendall Lakes. I'm the head golf professional. I've turned the operation around. We were $350,000 in the red when I took over. The next year we broke even. It wasn't that I did anything special. I just could count better than the last PGA Pro. So all of a sudden, I'm a star. And back then, we had one section. It was the state of Florida. It was one section. So we split in 1981. Our first executive director was Roger Ganem. He was a very good friend of mine. Roger and I helped Roger in the beginning. We had qualifying at Doral and Jackie Gleason Classic at my golf course. And then after Roger Kennedy became on board, Bobby Goodman, they hired a new young executive director from Jack Aranda. a guy from the University of Florida. And I'm thinking to myself, they fired Roger and hired this guy. Now, where the hell is this guy going to take us? So this guy happened to be Kevin Maroney. And Kevin came to me, and Kevin said, Gary, what can we do to help get the section off its feet? I think Kevin told me they were 51,000 in the red. I said, okay, look, because I like to play, why don't we hold qualifying for Doral and Honda at my golf course, and we won't charge green fees and carts? And Kevin said, can you do that? Sure, I can do that. And I said, if we do that, let's hold the qualifying for the club pros there. We did that. So we did that for about 3 or 4 years. We got the section off its feet, and it was off and running. And Kevin, I never would say this, but you were probably the best executive director that I've ever been around out of the 41 sections. And I didn't think anybody could top you. But I got to tell you right now, Jeff Lofstead and Meredith Schuler have topped you. Right. Okay, so now I'm living the dream. I've got it made. I've got green fees. I mean, I've got free food, free booze, playing golf every day, just what Charlie Griggs taught me. I've never been happier. We've got pro-ams, we've got tournaments. I'm living the dream. Next thing we know, we got bought out by American Golf. So American Golf comes to my office one day, and this guy comes in, his name was Gary Leathers, G-E-A-R-Y, Gary. And he said, Gary, we don't have a golf director in operation, but we'd like to offer you the job as the head pro. I said, okay, Gary, what do you have to offer? And he said, well, we'd like to offer you $14,000. I got up, dropped my pants, put my shorts on, and said, look, I tip more than $14,000. So I left, I lost my job, don't have a job. Don't know what to do. So all I could do was play. So the next thing I know, the general manager from Kendall Lakes called me up. He was in Texas. He said, Gary, why don't you come out to Texas and let's take over the country clubs of Southwest. There was 5 country clubs. I said, sure. I'd like to go west, find my fame and fortune. Told Vicki, you ready to go? Vicki said, let's go. So we packed the car up, go off to Texas. Next thing I know, it was probably the worst storm in the history of Texas. The Guadalupe overflowed and flowed on my golf course, which happened to be Wood Lake Country Club, which is where Ben Crenshaw won his first tour event. So I'm there for 4 or 5 months, nothing but the waters kept coming through the golf course. I'm going dead broke. So to make a long story short, 7 months went by. I had declared bankruptcy. I called my dad. I said, Dad, come on out, pick the family up, take them back. We're going to move back in. And my dad said, really, Gary? I said, really, Dad. So he came, took him back to Homestead. We got nothing. I don't know what to do. I don't have a job. I was living high on the hog. Now I've got nothing, dead broke. Next thing I know, I get a phone call from Herbie Yamamura, from a member, 1973. And Herbie said, Gary, we want you to help us locate and buy a golf course. Buy a golf course? I'm a real estate broker now? Sure. Sure, Herbie. I got no problem, Herbie. I got no money, I got no problem. So he says, Gary, there's a golf course up in Hollywood, and we need you to go up there and talk to the owner. Sure. So he said, Vicki, can I have some money for the tolls? We got no money, go the back way. Okay. Paul, this is true. Stay out of this, Paul. This is true. So sure enough, I'm going the back way. So I go up, and I literally walked into the owner's office. I walk in, and I said, hi, Mr. Jaffe, I'm Gary Baker. I'd like to talk to you about buying a golf course. He said, get the hell out of my office. Really. So he literally walked me out the front door. I come back, tell Vicki. Vicki says, you're never going to sell this place. What do you know about selling a golf course? I know nothing. Week went by. I came back up. I walked back in his office. 2 security guards literally took me by the arms and walked me out. Okay, I come back. Vicki's, first of all, the language she used, she says she never uses the F word. She used that F word like you couldn't believe. She said, you are never going to sell that golf course. What do you know about selling a golf course? I got nothing. I'm broke. What else I got to do? I said, can I have some money for the toll? She said, no, take the back way. No problem. Take the back way. So sure enough, I'm driving up. I'm out there again for the 3rd time. And I'm walking in, and I see a member that I had played with in Pro-Ams previously. And And he said, Gary, what are you doing here? I said, well, I'd like to talk to Mr. Jaffe about buying the golf course. He said, okay, Gary, no problem. He's my best friend. So sure enough. So to speed the story up, I told Mr. Jaffe, I said, look, I know that you owe $2.8 million for the club. I'm willing to give you $6 million for the job, for the operation, for the club. He said, no, you're not. I said, I'm going to give you $6 million, just don't ask questions. Make a long story short, we sell the golf course. All of a sudden, I'm a real estate Mongol. I'm living life again. Okay, I got cars like you can't believe. We got limousines. I've got everything. I'm living high on the hog. They make me the assistant general manager. So here I am. Because I've done nothing but play golf, now I've sold a golf course. So, one quick story. I got flown out to L.A. for the Japanese that wanted to talk to me. I'm sitting at a sushi bar, which I hate sushi. I'm looking for the hamburger. I got a sushi. It's okay. So in comes the president of the company. He walks in, and they all stand up and bow. I'm sitting at the end. He tells the manager, he said, please move. He said, I want to sit down here. So he sat down beside me, and he said these words, real men don't talk. I said, you're talking to the wrong guy. So to make a long story short, Hurricane Andrew hit the club, and we were desperate for cash. I didn't have any cash. Didn't look like the club was going to go anywhere. I was there for like 4 years. And all of a sudden, I get a call from another owner of a club, Mike Feinberg. And Mike called me up and he said, Gary, I'd like to talk to you about teaching me to play golf. Really? I'm a player, I'm not a teacher. He said, no, I've played with you before in the Pro-Ams and I like the way you play and maybe you can help me. I said, okay, we'll talk about it. So I go over there for like a month. I'm coming over there and I'm telling him to keep his head down, left arm straight. And this guy's thinking everything is great. So he says, listen,